Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fearless Gray. So I wrote a little late this morning. I had a meeting that I stayed in too long that I should have got out of. But that's going to lead into further discussions. So last week we talked about, it was Friendship Week, and we ended Thursday with talking about 5 tips to friend yourself. Because I think sometimes the loneliness that can occur in the Fearless Gray age happens because we're not a friend to ourselves. When we're a friend to ourselves, it really helps us to be a friend to others. So it's kind of like maybe a reciprocating emotion or reciprocating flow. So when you're first your friend to yourself, then you can be a friend to others. Kind of how they say when you love yourself, you can love others. It's sort of the same with friendship. Anyways, if you wanted to watch that whole show, you can go to my page and it's listed there. Yeah, otherwise, I've uploaded it to my YouTube channel. Yes, I have a YouTube channel. So this is one side question. So I have like 8 videos on my YouTube channel that are really horrible, like so embarrassingly bad. But I kind of left them there because I'm like, it's going to be a fun history. And I know that hopefully even in a month, I'll look back at these and go, oh, I'm so embarrassed, really horrible. But we're going to just leave them all there so we can document where we were. And those other videos, I've kind of been doing like mini video blogs. I don't know if I think for like a year and a half. And so the other ones were at my other house, and they're just terrible. Anyways, I can't wait till when I look back and I go, oh, the quality of that is just terrible. But we're not there yet. Anyways, so I wanted to point out 2 things on our video today. If you look in the upper, I don't know if it's right or left corner for you, I have our Bubbler Media logo, which I love. And so I wanted to explain what the logo was for you in case you weren't sure. So those of you who are from Australia or the Midwest know what a bubbler is. It's like a water cooler or a water fountain. And the reason we're Bubbler Media, it's a place where people meet to communicate, become a community. And so what our corner logo is, it's like a bubbler, but it's bubbler that is made up of 4 different people. And so if you look in there, you can see like the heads and the bodies, and that makes a square of like the water cooler / bubbler. Anyway, so that logo's there. And then down in the other corner, I have my Fearless Gray logo. And so these are all the little things that were causing me to be late today. Problem with the logo is it's not transparent, so you see the little white behind it, but that'll be fixed tomorrow. Anyway, so I'm so excited because today I have both my logos. It's so confusing because I'm opposite. Anyways, so I wanted to give you a self-reveal today. I've been kind of doing some of them. So here's my self-reveal. Look at my coffee cup. I've had this cup for about 2 years. So this thought process of Fearless Gray is not something new and random. I've been thinking about it a long time. And the quote on my mug says, empowered with possibility, fierce with reality, which I really think speaks to our Fearless Gray years. Like, you know, the possibility of things that lay ahead of us, but then we're very grounded in the reality of life because we've lived, you know, half of our life so far. Because all of us flamingos are living to 100, and we're going to be healthy and happy. Anyway, so I wanted to share my coffee cup every day. Flamingos. All right. So this weekend, I had an interesting experience. I was up at the lake with my family, and I had on the boat 2 of my daughters, a friend, and my niece was on the tube, and my nephew was in the boat with us. And so we were driving along, and there's a really thin part of the lake where people, you know, you can only have like either one boat only going fast or, you know, people going slow. And when we were driving through there, I noticed there were these 2 kids in the kayak, and it looked like one was in the water and they were trying to drag him back. And so I thought, oh, I should stop and see if they need help. Because the way I always look at it is like, hopefully if my kids are in need somewhere, like somebody else will do the same thing. So I circled around, and you know, sometimes when you ask people if they need help, they're like a little embarrassed, like, oh, no, we're fine. And they're like, yes. So first of all, I was so glad we went back. And so, you know, the one kayak was full of water, and you could tell it was like 2 teenagers, and the boy could probably not swim, was the impression I got from him, because the look on his face was like so scared. And he had his life jacket on, but it was like just, I think he threw it on when his kayak started taking in water, and he ended up in the water. And he was, anyway, so and if you've ever tried to lift a kayak full half of water, and my daughter and I are really strong, and thankfully these kids' dad came by, and he had to like push it up from the water. And then my niece on the inner tube was like, just drag the other one behind. And so 2 thoughts. First of all, there were so many people on the lake, and so many people clearly drove by. And I think, why do people drive by? One, probably because we're just, you know, watching our own thing. But I also think too, you know, that when you do ask people, and sometimes they say no, when you just think, oh, I don't want to bother them or whatever. And so I think we need to, in our life, maybe not be afraid to ask people if they need help. Because if they say no, what is gained or lost? Nothing. But sometimes, like, these people really need help. My second thought is, like, why were so many people just going by? And as my niece was on the tube, like, one person yells over, like, hey, you're not supposed to stop here. Like, are you kidding? Like, you cannot see that we're helping these people? And I think he was just so involved in trying to he had 2 tubes on, his kids have fun, that he really was completely unaware of, like, what was going on. And we didn't hear him right away because I know my daughter would have, like, really yelled at him. But so the other thing is also just, like, let's not be so unaware of, like, what other people are doing to help someone. I think, like, we judge, like, he was judging. He thought we were just, like, lollygagging and, like, where you're supposed to be fast, as opposed to standing back and seeing the reality of, like, no, we're helping these 2 kids. So my 2 takeaways from this weekend are, don't be afraid to ask people if they need help. And also, don't judge people so quickly, because you might be completely missing the whole picture of what's going on. All right, so that was my little weekend recap. And so if you guys, do you have any situations like that where you help somebody and, you know, are you afraid to ask them if they needed help? I think our society, my niece was telling me about some statistics she read, you know, how we just really don't help. Like, we're always so afraid to get involved and help people. Anyways, that was my weekend. So last week I had said this was going to be a week of talking about things I didn't prepare my son for college for. And I have plans for that, but thankfully I have one more week, and I'm going to do that show next week, because this is part of like why I was late today. Is I'm reading this book. It's so good. I'm going to share 2 days of this book with you, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And he talks about a bunch of things, and I'll go over 2 of them today. One is being prepared and having the set things that you do every day, being prepared. And it really dawned on me, like, because sometimes I pop in here at 9:30, sometimes I pop in at 9:35 sometimes, and my show is always not super planned out yet. And so I want to start a routine for myself that every morning I do the same things, that I come in here and I'm ready for the show. And so, like, when 9:30 ticks around, I turn it on. So I'm trying to think of, like, what things that I want to do to have my standard routine. In the book, he talked about how Michael Phelps, and you remember that picture when he was glaring at somebody, but what was the other guy's name? The other swimmer, who knows? You know. He's so into his routine that it was just that he listens to the same music, he does the same steps. You know, when he walks up to the stand, he does the same movements he's on the stand. And I really want to start implementing that for my show. So if you have any tips, of any of you that are also live streamers, do you do, like, the same thing every single show? Or even if you're not a live streamer, anything in life, like, where you do the exact same thing to prepare yourself to do the best that you can. I'm thinking, like, at 9 o'clock, because I have to turn on another app, like a Live Leap app. And then my problem is, like, I'm using Switch or Go, and I always have to go and sign in and, like, add these little things. And then, of course, then I had the surprise that my flamingo's white, not transparent, and I didn't have time to fix it. Well, if I started at 9 o'clock, I was thinking I might even start with meditating. Meditate 10 minutes for 9 o'clock, get my lights in place, turn on, get my show ready to go, so I have to push start, do all these things. So anyways, I guess what I'm just trying to do today is we're walking through the process of, like, how I'm going to make this show better, and I would love any of your tips. But the one thing this book, like I said, talks about is how having the same routines for something you need to do really well. And I think that would help us in a lot of aspects of life. So is there anywhere in your life that you think if you started having the same routine that you did exact same time or exact same way and time before you do something, that would help? The second thing that he talks about in this book, and I'm for sure implementing this, is having a notebook and, like, writing something that you want to change in yourself, writing everything you do related to that day. So I have my little book out, and what I'm going to work on, because I have a Mother of the Bride dress to fit into, and I've known it since December. It's not going that well. I'm going to start writing down, like, everything I eat for the day, and because, like, the thought process is, like, oh, should I eat more chocolate? But I have to write it down. I've actually done that today. My sister-in-law gave me some chocolate when we were at the cottage, and I was going to eat one this morning. I'm like, do I want to write it down? So that's the other. And then the other side, I'm doing a 2-sided one. I'm going to write down financially, like, every single thing I spend during the day, to try to make myself much more aware of what I'm spending. So I'm wondering if any of you ever tried that, where you take a notebook and you write down every single thing that you do related to, like, maybe even exercising, like every time that you exercise, the start at the end, or every penny you spend, or every food you eat. Like maybe you want to stop by and take care of a friend or something every day, every time you do it. Have any of you ever tried the notebook trick of doing that? I'm going to try that today. Anyways, today's a little bit random of a show because I'm trying to implement structure, and tomorrow I'm going to talk again about more stuff in the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. I would love to get your input on things you use to be your best self. So what can I give me ideas how I can promote my best show to be ready to go at 9:30. And so flamingo lingo of the day is flamingos slacking help. And so that kind of ties into my story at the beginning of the day about when you see somebody in need, ask and help. Flamingo slacking help. So if you like this show, and today's a little random, but I hope you still kind of are enjoying, you're part of my process is what you are. Like, you're part of my process that when you're let's call you my early flamingos or something like that, and you're helping. So when our community is bigger, you'll be the people that helped us to get to be like a professional, well-manned machine. But if you do like the show and you don't want to miss it, please make sure you turn on your notifications for Bubbler Media, and so you don't miss a show. I'm going to be at 9:30 every day, and I'm going to be starting tomorrow at 9:30 every day because I'm going to start implementing my routine, which I am going to share with you. And also, I think I'm going to have like a sharing day each month where I ask you to share out the show, which I won't do today, but maybe once a month I'll ask you, please make sure you share this with your friends. Anyways, thank you for stopping by today. And I know we're a little bit flamingo-ish. We're a little bit Jennifer today. That's what we'll call it. But it'll be better. Have a great day.